We are live. Can everybody see me and can everybody hear me? How are we doing? Are we good? Okay. Looking good on my end. Okay, so I know we're a little late on this one. I know the game was 2 days ago. Most of you guys have already kind of forgotten about a lot of it probably. But because I only streamed an hour after the game initially, I wanted to do a second stream talking about the game at least some. Of course, there's more going on than just the game. We did get some news today concerning cuts. We have already basically punched in our cuts to get down to 80 before the final roster trim down to 53. So, with that in mind, I know that some people aren't going to really be interested in this game, but to quickly run down my thoughts on the game, it was obviously pretty bad, pretty sloppy. There isn't a whole heck of a lot you can take away from that game in the positive area. I will say that I think the offensive line played well when they were actually able to get past the snap for the most part, especially Cross and Lucas. Cross obviously needs to clean up the penalties. It was bad, but if he managed to get past the whistle, managed to get past the snap rather, without incurring a penalty, he was pretty good, and Lucas played good as well. Homer played well. A few other positives as well. I thought both rookie corners played an improved game from their game against the Steelers. Nwosu missed a couple tackles, but he got a lot of pressure on opposing quarterbacks. So, other than that, really bad tackling. Receivers were awful. We had maybe 9 or 10 drops. Penalties, obviously a huge problem. We had 13 penalties accepted, I think, in that game. And it's made a lot of people wonder how bad this season could actually get. So, a couple of things before I get into the particulars here. As the Mariners put another run up on the board. Oh yeah, Josh Jones. That's another good one. Josh Jones played pretty good. First of all, the Geno thing. Yeah. Look, I maintain some of the things that I said yet the other day when I was kind of defending him, but look, I just have really low expectations for Geno. Like I look at that game he played on Thursday, and I think to myself, yeah, that's Geno Smith. When he throws a good ball, you better catch it because the next ball is probably not going to be that good because he's not very accurate. When he makes a big time throw to convert a third or fourth down, you better not commit a penalty because he probably only has 1 or 2 of those in his arsenal a game. Um, just a very limited player. And I look at that game and I go, we probably put up a couple scores when he's in the game if the receivers could just catch the ball. So it's hard for me to get that mad at him. But I will say, a lot of people seem very unhappy with Geno right now. And it's very possible there's something going on there that I don't totally see, that I don't totally grasp. Sometimes when you see this many people come out so voraciously in favor of a particular point of view, the only thing you can do is look at that and go, well, there's just something going on there that I didn't totally see. So I can see that may be the truth. And other than that, I mean, we're moving on to this third game. Obviously, we're going to see a lot of starters play. We're going to see a lot of the starters go. And I have to believe this game is going to be important. This is not going to be a throwaway game, especially not after that performance. I don't think we'll be able to play much worse than that, but that is the kind of performance that you as a coach must look at and go, man, this whole week of practice was just a waste of my time. Like what did we do in practice all week if this is the performance we come out with? 14 missed tackles, 13 accepted penalties, no points until the late in the third, I think it was. Just, ugh. Not a good game. But anyway, we did cut 5 players today, including Joel Buniwe, which surprised some people. He wasn't playing well at all, but Dublanco was clearly playing worse. So I don't really know why Dublanco gets to stick and Buniwe gets to go, but neither guy was playing good at all, really, so that's fine. Matt Gotel also got released, so the linebacker situation on this roster right now is a little bit of a. I mean, the inside linebacker spot's not good. Yeah, but we kind of knew that going in, so I'm totally fine with that. Let's mess around in the UDFA pile and see if we can find somebody semi-competent. And also being released today was let me grab the list here real quick. Let me make sure I get this right. We have released Bubba Bolden, which I think is going to surprise and disappoint some people. He was playing okay on special teams to my eye. Cade Brewer, tight end, and cornerback Elijah Jones, who I actually thought made a couple plays, but he never really had a great chance. Never had a great chance to make the roster, even though I thought he was doing a couple positive things out there. So, clearly, I think those releases mean that Vi Jones is likely to make this 53-man roster, and we view Vi Jones as being the best depth we have behind Barton and Brooks. Nevertheless, that's basically what we're looking at here. We are bringing in linebacker Kenny Young, who I've talked about a little bit before. Not a bad idea. I think he could play inside linebacker in a 3-4. I think he's done it before. I think he did it for the Ravens. So, not a bad idea. And with that, I'm going to start opening it up to the chat. We already got 75 people in here. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. I know that it's kind of a weird time to do a stream because the game was days ago. 2 days now. But I didn't want to do it yesterday because I ended up getting really busy. I didn't even stream on Twitch last night. And I only streamed for an hour immediately after the game, so I wanted to do one more. So please like the stream if you haven't already. We've got 14 likes, I think. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and you want daily Seahawks content. We have hit our sub goal for the month, but obviously we can still keep pushing. Maybe we get to 9,500 this month. I don't know. You can become a channel member. We have hit our channel member goal for August of 100, but you can still become a channel member. You can also buy gifted memberships on the channel if you click on the icon. Allows you to gift memberships to other people who are in the chat at the time. And we also take tips in the form of super chats and, well, tips. The donations help keep the channel going. We have a super chat goal and a tip goal of $25 each. Super chats, click on the dollar icon below the chat. Tips, click on the link in the video description. Tips are actually a better way to do things because of the fee that gets taken out is much less. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get underway here. So, Aurora, Vi Jones, and Muse and Donkor. Well, Donkor is going to be a practice squatter for sure almost. It's pretty much guaranteed he makes the practice squad. Muse, I think, will actually make it now. He played okay. I looked at Muse and I was like, I think he's too small, but, you know, it's nothing you can't overcome. Noah, although I see his flashes overall, I'm let down by Taylor's performance, missed tackles, over pursues, getting bullied in run plays after he was so hyped out of camp. Your thoughts? Yeah, it hasn't been all great. Absolutely, Noah. I agree with that. But I don't see anything there that makes me worried or disappointed. Like, with a guy like a Daryl Taylor who played really well last year and has so much great ability, I'm not going to be disappointed by him doing whatever in the preseason. It's preseason. Like, I know what he can do. I'm not that worried about it. Austin, could Freddie Swain be a surprise cut? I wouldn't be against it. The thing is, the guys behind him are not doing a stellar job of making an argument for sticking around, right? Like Cade. I mean, Cade played good as a receiver, but as a punt, the punt returning was a disaster. Bo Melton dropped passes. Derek Young dropped passes. Aaron Fuller, he made a couple nice plays, but I think he had a couple drops in there as well. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, no comment. But I wish somebody would assert themselves as being clearly better than Freddie Swain. Grug, did you hear about Roquan Smith deciding to play out the rest of his contract? Yes, I did. Not shocking. Not shocking, but it's bizarre that the Bears are letting this happen to me. To me, the Bears letting this happen doesn't make a lot of sense. Because he is clearly so unhappy with that team that he's really not going to want to stay there in 2023. So they must just be like, okay, we're going to have you for one more year on this god-awful team that has no chance going anywhere. And then we're going to let you go as we actually start moving towards the next era of competent Bears football. Why would you not trade him now? Because he's obviously mad at you. Austin Roberts, Pennyhart, goodbye. He needs to go. Yeah, him too. Him too. I mean, look, we have a lot of receivers on this depth chart. We have a lot of receivers on this depth chart who are just more interesting than Penny Hart. Penny Hart's been here forever and hasn't done anything. Ooh, double play? Double play. Amari Taylor, a lot of people saying we get the number 1 overall pick. I don't know. I think we're going to BS a few wins. It might be a top 5 pick. I don't know if it's going to be number 1. Cletus Van Dam, Mason Rudolph to the Seahawks. No. I don't think so. I don't want to give up assets for a quarterback who's marginally better than what we have. Mason Rudolph's brains are mush, guys. Like, really. Grug, do you think we'll sign him in free agency next year instead of drafting an inside linebacker? I think we'll draft an inside linebacker. At that point, you may as well draft somebody, I think. But I don't want to rule anything out, but that's not the kind of thing we usually do. We don't sign the top guys. Sometimes we sign the guys who are below the top guys. Sometimes we sign the guys at the bottom. I don't think you see us sign like the guys at the very top. Now, I'd like to change that one of these off seasons, but yeah. Grug, number 1 overall pick because of a preseason game. Some people, man. That's kind of what I kind of agree. The thing is, we clearly have really bad depth. Our depth is bad at most positions. However, I do think some people need to understand Metcalf and Lockett basically didn't play. Penny and Walker didn't play. Drew Lock didn't play, and that ended up mattering. I think most people would have been more interested to see Drew Lock. Diggs and Adams didn't play. Jones and Burns didn't play. Brooks didn't play. Like, some people do need to calm down. Moss Productions, do you think we should have gotten a Kobe Dean? I don't want to change anything about the draft we had, really, because it was so good. But I would not have been against Nakobe Dean. This is why Locke is better than Geno. If there's a penalty or drop pass, he can get it back on the next play. Meanwhile, if anything goes on wrong on a drive with Geno, the drive is over. Yeah, but that's Geno. I don't think Carroll believes Geno's anything other than that, and he's still going with him. So I know Carroll was pretty faint of praise on Geno after that game. I don't believe that Geno did anything that is going to undo Pete's preference for him. Because while that's true, Pete also looks at Locke as a guy who's going to turn the ball over more, and he doesn't like that. So we'll see. I don't think that game changed Carroll's mind. Or hey, Brandon, what do you think about Brent Hundley at QB for Seahawks? I'm not against it, but he's not good enough to play. He's good enough to be a backup or a third stringer. Like, I like Brent Hundley as a backup, but I don't want to bring him in to really compete for a starting job. Justin Warfield, do you think that fumble will ruin Cade Johnson's chances? It shouldn't, because he's a receiver. Austin Roberts, my prediction for receivers: Lockett, Metcalf, Swain, Eskridge, Melton, Young, but I don't know. I'd love to get Johnson on there instead of Swain, personally. Power code, confusing to cut Joel Iwe today. Gotta wonder, are we making a push at Roquan? No, we can't be making a push at Roquan because he has already decided to come down from his trade demand. And the team clearly doesn't want to trade him, so it's not happening. I think we just looked at him and saw a guy who wasn't doing anything good, and they are correct. Now, Dublanco was worse. I don't know why he survives, but Iwe was not doing anything good on special teams or defense, so it's understandable. Wrestle Mark Hugh, it's weird because PFF liked Geno, but hardly no one else did. Yeah, I saw that. I'm not crazy about being on the same side of the fence as PFF, but it does go to show you that from a purely technical perspective, Geno played pretty good. Like that's my thing. From a technical perspective, Geno played okay. It's this it's like the Dylan me 1234. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for the sub. The knocks against Geno seem to me to be about the intangibles, like leadership, which PFF is not really going to capture, right? And I don't know. Like obviously I don't look at a guy who gets a DUI in the offseason right before his final chance in the NFL, and I don't expect him to be a leader. So I'm not surprised by that, but it seems to me that this team, knowing Geno has all those limitations, is still willing to ride with him. So I don't know. I just don't believe it's going to change anything. Moss, is there any middle linebacker free agents that add decent depth to our team? Um, I kind of like the Kenny Young idea. PFF really doesn't like Kenny Young, though. Just putting that out there. Just putting that out there. ANML, next game with Lock starting most likely will be interesting. Can't wait to see first game with starters will be crazy. We got to take that game seriously now, right? Because the last game was so bad, we can't just do a throwaway game. Got to take that game seriously. Michael Garza, what's up with Kenny? Why hasn't he been able to keep a job? Well, he's not a great player. He's not that good, but we're not looking for anything great right now. We're just trying to find somebody who's better than Joel Dublanco, which is everybody. Or the Jamal Adams meme needs to stop. You guys need to stop with this. Jamal Adams already has like two bad shoulders. You want to put him at inside linebacker? Do you want him to die? Knock it off. You might as well ask, hey, should we move LJ Collier to center? Mason, am I crazy for thinking Nwosu is our best edge player? To me, it doesn't look like Taylor is taking that next jump, and I personally wasn't super high on Mafe for coming out. I don't think Nwosu is going to be anything special. I think Taylor's clearly the guy who can be special, but Nwosu's fine. Yeah, Cade Brewer got cut. I saw that. Daniel, does LJ Collier make the team? The man isn't even playing this preseason. Well, he's injured, but I don't think he makes the team. I think Miles Adams makes the team. Miles Adams is making plays every single game. Brooks, what do you think of the chances of Bo Melton and Tariq Wilson playing in the Denver game? Hopefully not. I think both those guys would be in over their head, especially Woolen. I know Woolen's played pretty good this preseason. He's made some splash plays. You see some positive signs. But I'm telling you, he has very little experience playing cornerback at any level. ANML, love that your live streams are getting more traction. You have good takes on the good and bad. I try. ANML. Mason, any word on Ryan Neal? Meh. Haven't heard anything. Staniel, what about Kobe? Kobe could play. Kobe might be able to play. You might see him at nickel, honestly. I agree. If Collier makes the team over Miles Adams, is always compete is dead. I think that's what you meant to say. Yeah, there's no point anymore. He didn't even play last year. Remember that first game of the year when Collier didn't play and Pete was like, "Oh, we're going to depend on him heavily as the year goes on. We're going to play him, trust me." And then he barely played. He only played when Kemdichi needed a blow. Elu being okay really washes away some of the atrocious offensive performances of the Bears game. Yeah, I still haven't heard how long he's going to be out. I still haven't heard anything about how long he's going to be out, but it sounds like he could play in the Denver game, which is a huge W. Oh, yeah, Al Woods. There's another guy who did not play on Thursday, Al Woods. And he's been one of the standouts in camp so far, and I know he's old, but he adds value for sure. Brooks Pfeiffer, who do you think will be our two starting cornerbacks and wide receiver three? Wide receiver three will be Eskridge. Cornerbacks, I think we're going to go with the veterans, Artie Burns and Sidney Jones. ANML expectations on preseason game 3. I think you're going to see something a lot cleaner because Pete was not happy in that postgame presser, and I'm sure he's going to do what he needs to do to get the team at least playing at a competent level. Al played a few snaps? Really, I didn't notice him out there. Our best player, great offseason signing, didn't play either. Will Dissly? Yeah, Dissly didn't play either. I don't know why, by the way. I didn't hear he was hurt. Are we just keeping him in bubble wrap? Yeah, Dumbo. Okay, Woods did play Thursday. Okay, he must have not played very much because I didn't see him. Mason, maybe I'm overreacting, but why is Coleman still here? That's a guy I would have loved to have seen get cut. That's a dude who absolutely just needs to get out of here. It's really kind of disturbing if he makes the 53 man. I'm convinced he was high in that game. I'm convinced he was just high. Like, you make a mistake that stupid and then you're laughing about it right after the play like it's funny. Like, does he think he's guaranteed a roster spot so it doesn't matter if he screws up? Like, or does he not care because he's already made his money and he doesn't really care if he plays football this year? Because I gotta tell you, if he's guaranteed a roster spot, something is really, really wrong. Jeffrey, thank you for the $5. I don't mind losing. I just don't want to be embarrassed. Yeah, and that's kind of the thing I'm coming out of that game thinking. Like, look, I think most of us know this team's going to be bad. I think most of us understand that, but you got to field a competent team. You can't be committing double-digit penalties in a game. You can't be struggling to even get into field goal range. You can't have 10-plus drops. You can't have 14 missed tackles. Like, these are things that separate you from the these are things that make you flat out incompetent. And while it's understandable that this team might have a bad season, there's nothing understandable about this team being completely incompetent. And if that happens, then you start looking at this coaching staff and wondering, like, okay, if you guys can't even get these guys to play hard and play with some discipline, how can we just how can you justify keeping your job? Pretentious Cameron, if our tackling is poor in the next preseason game, is it it's time to panic? I mean, it's definitely concerning. Like it should be getting better, right? Power, do we keep Penny Hart? We might honestly keep him because of special teams and that 41-yard catch. Uh, he always does stuff like that in the preseason, though, and then the regular season starts and he never makes any plays. The only play he's ever made in a regular season game is when he drew a pass interference call on Jalen Ramsey, I think. Other than that, he never does anything in games. Nick Guzman, won't the missed tackles not really be an issue with the starters? Brooks, Diggs, Adams won't have tackling issues? Yeah, that's part of it for sure. Jeffrey A. Thistle, welcome to the channel. Oh, shit. Oh. Frazier, come on, man. I don't care about players' payroll, but ain't Pete the highest paid NFL coach or top two? Yeah, he's up there, but that matters even less than what the players make. There's no cap on coaching payment. There's no cap on what coaches get paid. So I don't really care about that. It's just I need something I need you to be competent. I need you to be good. I'll pay you whatever you need to get paid as long as you're good, but if you're not, beat it. Jay Cameron, I'm not playing Madden. Madden sucks. Everyone who plays Madden is a booger eater. I'm kidding, but Madden sucks. I was watching some do I was watching some guy named Bengal on YouTube do Madden 23 franchise mode with the Giants, and the gameplay looks atrocious. Like I don't know how anybody puts up with that for more than 2 seconds. I have no idea how people put up with the garbage gameplay in Madden. Like I'm just watching it. Like receivers just randomly decide to not even try to go up for a ball and let the defender pick it off. Like Madden used to be good. Madden used to be cool, but my God, man. Or nobody's going to trade for Coleman. How much of the Cowboys game do you think Pete plays the starters? Yeah, I think he plays them until they do something positive. Oh boy. I think at this point you have to just go, okay, you're going to go stay in there until you do something good. I think a positive is we've shown we can have a good running game with just our backup running backs. Yeah, the running game's good. Running game's nice. The running game really could chug this year, but you need a quarterback who can make those third down throws, or else those it doesn't matter that much. Blair and Coleman both bad, and Jason Myers needs to get cut. Well, who are you going to replace Myers with is my question. You should have done this during the draft or UDFA. Like we shouldn't be having this conversation now. We should have dealt with this a long time ago. Now we're just kind of stuck with Myers. And it's blatantly obvious because there was never another kicker brought in that Myers never had to compete for his job. He was just handed it after having a terrible year. Well, that's going to be whole. What in the world was that, Lamb? What in the world did Lamb just do? That was an easy fly ball catch, and he just stood there and watched it land in front of him. I don't know what to say about that. I don't know what the hell Lamb just did. That looks like a routine catch to me, and he just stops running. What the hell? That's like something I do in Little League because I can't see the ball because my sunglasses don't work. Yeah. All right, guys, we are about half an hour into the stream. I said I'm going to go about an hour, so we got another half hour left. Well, please like the stream if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new and you want daily Seahawks content. Become a channel member for $2 or $5 a month by clicking the join button down below. And we also have stream goals for super chats and tips. You can super chat by clicking the dollar sign next to the chat. You can tip by clicking the link in the description. Tips and super chat comments are guaranteed to be seen, read, and responded to. Let's see here. Schematically, teams are still picking us apart and taking what we give, which is high completion percentage and yards. I actually think getting sacks will make or break this defense. Now, I don't think... I don't know, but I don't think Pete has it in him to have a defense that just goes for it. And look, it's possible we're saving that stuff for the regular season, but we know better than anyone else in the world. We know that Russell Wilson struggles with the blitz. We know that Wilson really struggles handling the blitz. So if we go into that game next in a few weeks and we just play passive defense against Wilson and just let him sit back in the pocket, we don't send blitzes in him, then I don't know what to say anymore. Like, that's not even just being a bad coach. That's being really, really, that's just being like room temperature IQ. Right, guy, thank you for the $1.99. I know it's preseason, but we got crushed by the Bears. Yeah, that's what we've been talking about. Damn. A&ML, look, I'm part of the Mafe Mafia. Can't wait to see him sack Wilson. I like Mafe a lot, too. I don't know if he's going to be great this year, though. You know, I didn't watch the game, but the Broncos-Bills preseason game, I think over the two preseason games the Broncos have played so far, they're averaging like a yard and a half a carry. And I don't think they're playing Javonte Williams yet, but their run game has been really, really bad. I don't know what's going on there. They got killed, not starters, really, though. Watched it. Okay. Yeah, I know Russ isn't playing either, but it's weird that they can't run the ball at all because that's something they did good last year with Bridgewater and Locke. Wonder how Jake Heaps is doing in Denver. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Last hope is that the starters on D can lift the schematic changes to full effect with better coverage and run stopping so we can get more exotic in regular season. Otherwise, it's going to be a long season. I mean, look, you gotta be willing to go for it, especially in these first couple games. We're going to be playing Russell Wilson, and we know better than anyone else that he struggles against blitzing. We're going to play Trey Lance, who is like 21 years old, right? We're going to be playing Marcus Mariota. I don't think these are guys you want to just sit back in the pocket against a three-man rush the whole game. We don't have much schematic changes. We still run the same things on the back end. We just really need talented guys to get the sacks. Yeah, I'm hoping things change in the regular season because I didn't see a whole lot of exotic stuff in that Bears game either. It was pretty straightforward. And I'm not going to be unhappy about that if it's just designed to hide things for the preseason. But if we play like that against Denver, then I don't know what to say. Like you got to bring something new. You got to if you I mean, you can't tell me you bring in Sean Desai to run the same old Pete Carroll defense. So if that's what ends up happening here, then it's clear that I mean, at that point you wonder why did you bring in Sean Desai? But it's preseason, and I do think some people need to remember that. There is incentive to hide what you're actually going to do. All right, well, we get out of it with 3 runs given up. Why is Puna Ford at D end when Alton Robinson is good D end? What do you mean? Alton Robinson can't play D end in this defense. He's too small. Carroll is possibly going to end up in Canton. Oh, he's definitely going to end up in Canton. He's going to be easy Canton. That's not even in doubt. Imagine not training for Jamal and having Cross, Lucas, Creed, and Russ still. I guess, yeah. Possibly. Yeah, actually. That may have worked out. I don't know, though. I think we would have traded Russ anyway. I think Pete honestly thinks Russ isn't that good anymore. I think Pete honestly believes that Russ is not that good anymore. And I think he would have traded him anyway. Jeffrey, at least we're not the Cowboys. Thank you for the $5 super chat, buddy. Stuck with an average QB and bad coach for the foreseeable future. Yeah, and they have a really bad ownership group. Really, really bad. And they're stuck with them for like 40 years because he's the owner and the GM are basically the same person. Barry Soitoro, thank you for the $10 super chat. I rewatched the first half this morning. Geno wasn't as bad as I thought when watching live. Yeah, I'm definitely pulling back on my defense of Geno a little bit, but I still say these receivers need to do their job. And like there is so much stuff went bad in that game. Geno's the least of my concerns. If Pete doesn't think that, then what does he think about his scheme, offensive and defensive scheme, which get exposed year after year? Well, based on what I heard from him last year, he blames the players. Like, if you listen to him in the post-game press conferences after losses, he blamed the players. Like I remember Tyler Lockett in one of his post-game press conferences basically, he didn't say it like this, but he basically said, "Oh, the coaching's the problem. The scheme is the problem. The coaching's bad. The scheme's bad." And then somebody told Pete about that, and Pete was like, "Well, he's wrong." Which and Trey Flowers did the same thing, and Pete kind of did the same thing. He basically said, "Hey, we're doing the same stuff that has worked for us for a long time." So he's not saying it's the player's fault, but that's the implication. That's and look at all the times he threw Wilson in the garbage can after games last year, calling him out, which he never used to do. He never used to do that stuff. Oh yeah, Rye Guy. Steven's worse. I think Steven's much worse than Jerry. Ooh. Oh man. Man, Crawford, I don't know if JP Crawford's ever gonna hit another home run again. Like, I don't know. Seems to me that Pete really thinks the players are the problem, which well, he got rid of some of the players, so I guess we'll find out. ANML, did anyone notice a ton of really low snaps last game? I noticed a little bit of that, yeah. I didn't think it was enough to excuse receivers dropping passes. Mark Blessing, what happened to Boye Mafe? He's fine. He's fine. He's still good. Dry guy, at least Jerry has those rings. Yeah, Jimmy Johnson rings. He'll never get another one, I'll tell you that what. That one right now. No problem, Mark. Sanjay Lal better get his stuff together. Yeah, Maverick. I mean, in fairness, our receivers are usually a pretty decent part of the team. Like, I don't think that's the standard we can expect from them going forward, but it's got to get fixed, right? Chicken, why haven't we seen Marquise Goodwin in the preseason? I think he's hurt. The Broncos lost 42 to 15. I saw 28 to 6. I didn't see the rest. I didn't watch the game. I'm not I'm not that into watching other teams' preseason games. There's just nothing to sink your teeth into. Ugh. Real thrilled by Kyle Fuller playing center again. You know, we should move him to right tackle if possible. His best football was right tackle. He played one game right tackle in his career, and he actually played pretty good. Just move him there permanently. Hawks family, what's your thoughts on the Broncos losing 42 to 15? I didn't watch the game, and it's preseason, so nothing really. I don't think anything of it. I don't think Wilson played. I don't think Javante played. But I didn't watch it, so it's whatever. Maverick, funny how so many ex Seahawks comeback advice go on broadcast. Coincidence or no Russ effect? I think it kind of has to be the no Russ effect. Otherwise, it's a bizarre coincidence. Brooks Pfeiffer, what would you do with Abe Lucas then? I would play him. I'm saying Kyle Fuller is a backup right tackle. Kyle Fuller can be a backup right tackle. That seems to be his best position. But whatever. This look, the center position is going to be a little bit of a black hole until we actually address it. Hopefully next offseason. So it doesn't really matter. Why are none of the starters playing this preseason? In years past, it's usually game one, one quarter, game two, two quarters, game three, three quarters, game four, rest everyone. Well, every team does it differently. Every team makes their own decisions. I remember back in the Norv Turner days, the Chargers wouldn't play any starters the whole preseason. I think maybe they would play some linemen, but LT would literally not play a single snap the whole preseason, and he would play badly or at least not explosively the first month of the regular season, and then they would get it going at the end, and the hope was, well, he'll be he'll have something left for the playoffs, right? Now, it never really worked out that way, but they felt like that was their best chance at success. Uh, yeah, Gilmore's a regard. Maybe he could play center. He's sub 300, but I don't know if he's done it before. He's certainly the most interesting of the UEFAs, along with Vi Jones. What happened to Avery Roberts, by the way? I kind of liked him. Oh, yeah, Daniel, 100%. If he bails on the team now, that's that is 100% a dick thing to do. But whatever, he won them a Super Bowl a couple years ago. They'll get over it, right? But if he does it now, yeah, it's a huge dick thing to do. But he might do it. Moss Productions, this team won't be anything in the future until we get rid of our strength and conditioning coach. It seems like a no brainer, but here we are. I don't know what to say about it except at least most of these injuries are minor. At least most of them are pretty insignificant. But we've been dealing with this stuff for a while. He's been on the bubble for a minute. Mason Dahl Lucas's run blocking has been the nicest surprise to this point. Yeah, he moves people, man. He moves people. Daniel, would you... Daniel, what? Okay, I'm taking the car keys away from you, Daniel. Go away. Get out of my chat. You're going to drive this chat into a bus. You're going to T-bone a bus. I'm not loving the Blythe hate out there in fandom. He's good. Need his leadership played with Andy and Shane. What? I'm not seeing a lot of Blythe hate, honestly. I think people think he's okay, which he is. He's an okay player. Better than what we've had for a while. And we're probably going to get somebody better next offseason if we can. I don't think he's a long-term solution here. Yeah, Ivan was his strength and conditioning coach at USC, I think. Is Joey Hunt still in the NFL? He was last year. ANML, not sure if Jones and Burns are even better than the rookies. Jones is good. Jones is good. And Burns is... I mean, he's gotten rave reviews so far in camp. And you don't want to put too much on these rookies, I don't think. Wait, is Logan Gilbert getting pulled after 66 pitches? Wow. Do we need to give that guy like a few weeks off or something? Real talk. Hectic. Yeah, we have a decent amount of cap space, but next year's not necessarily the year to go all in. I don't think. The Gorilla Trey Brown is pretty good. Yeah. Okay, yeah, Daniel, but you think he wants to play behind two rookie tackles? You think he wants to play behind our probably bottom 25 percentile offensive line? You think he wants to play for a team that's switching to a new defense? Like, I don't know why you think this team is good enough to appeal to him. He's basically ring chasing at this point in his career. He's what? I'm done having this conversation. This is ridiculous. I've seen middle school. Did you know John Ryan ran a 4.4 and still plays in the CFL? I knew about the CFL thing. I didn't know he ran a 4.4. That's kind of weird that he ended up playing a punter. Projected CB starters to begin at the season are Burns, Jones, and Bryan at the nickel. Where does Trey Brown fit when he returns? He might take over nickel. Depends on how Kobe does. Depends on how Kobe does. Oh, I know he did a good job blocking, Daniel. I know Cross did good. I know Cross is a good player, but you think that's going to hold against Randy Gregory and Bradley Chubb and Bosa and God, who else are we playing in the first month of the season? Aiden Hutchinson, maybe. It's crazy. Joey Hunt started and won a playoff game against Fletcher Cox of all people. Yeah, you know Joey Hunt at least tried. Joey Hunt tried, which sometimes I feel like is more than I can say for Kyle Fuller. I don't feel like Kyle Fuller tries sometimes. Reginald Riglet, these preseason games really have me worried. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I think Michael Jackson at least makes the practice squad, Daniel. Does Michael Jackson make the team? Yeah. In some capacity, he should. He's played well. Trey Brown might start the season on the PUP. That'll make it easier. But I'm personally hoping Trey Brown can be back sooner than that. Jean Ruiz, Fuller gets manhandled by Aaron Donald. He was getting manhandled by safeties in that Saints game. They would blitz safeties up the middle, and Fuller couldn't handle it. It was bad. A&ML Skezer, yeah, 53-man roster projection when? Probably after the Cowboys game. Do you miss Thomas Rawls? I mean, yeah, but it is. I mean, look, the last year he was here, he was terrible. The last year Rawls was here, he was atrocious. So he had nothing left. It is what it is. Unfortunate that things broke that way, but they did. Or DJ and Homer is better. I mean, everybody's better than Thomas Rawls last time he was here, but Rawls, that first year was something else. People forget how good he was for like a year, maybe a year and a half. Fun P, who was our center last year when Penny went on a roll? It was Posick, I think. Drew hits 5-day COVID protocol tomorrow. Yeah, hopefully we get good news so we can play this week. Hopefully we get good news. Because I want to at least see, I want this to be honest. I think his first year he averaged like 6.5 yards a carry or something, 6.2 at least. Something like that. Yeah, 67 plus. I remember that game. That game was an embarrassment. Mason Dell, do you think the team will be sold by the time this rookie class needs new deals? I kind of do. Yeah, I kind of do. Kind of do. Didn't Christian Michael average 5.3 his career? Maybe. The Ghost Tribe, thank you for the $2. You talked a lot of crap before the game. 0-17, you bums. I don't even know who you are, dude. I've never seen you before. But thank you for your $2. Imagine being so down bad that you're trying to talk trash about a preseason game. Holy shit. Yeah. Rawls did do good behind a terrible offensive line. You're right about that. Yeah, that's a good point. All right, I'm going to go for like another 8 minutes or so. Then I'm going to get out of here, eat dinner, and then probably jump on Fire Emblem tonight on Twitch. I think the Texans won last night. Yeah, the Ghost of Judah Tribe, I've never seen you before. I don't recall talking any trash to anybody. This isn't a trash talking channel. But do you realize how bad it is that you're trying to talk trash about a preseason game? Jesus. Unbelievable. God damn it. Adam Frazier is so bad defensively. Prediction for versus Dallas game. I mean, predicting preseason games doesn't really mean like I remember a couple people in my chat asking me, "Hey, do you think we're gonna win this preseason game?" And it's like it's pretty random, guys. Whatever. Anyway, the Cowboys game will be unwatchable without dot dot dot. Yeah. I can't believe there's one person out there stupid enough to actually try to talk trash after the preseason. Like, good lord. What is wrong with you? Yeah, I heard about the Matt Corral thing. Um, List Frank injury. I guess it's kind of a fluke, right? Like, you can't really say that's like anything wrong with him as a player. Cowboys game will be unwatchable without Locke. He deserves a chance to beat his former team week one. We deserve some entertainment. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Locke is more interesting. And that being said, I do wonder, does Drew Lock try to do too much against his former team? Is Drew Lock going to try to do too much against his former team? Right, guy, thank you for the $4.99. I wonder what's going to be more interesting, the product on the field or the drunk fans fighting. I think the product on the field is going to be pretty interesting. It's just probably going to be bad. Jeffrey, why did Cross play so crap in our last game? I think he's a rookie and he just has stuff to learn. I'd rather it happen now than happen in the regular season, right? Zua, should we give Jake Fromm a chance? No, I don't think so. Maverick Cross couldn't hear the cadence. Is that true? I'm gonna have to look into that a little bit. You know, different than Locke, who got first team reps. That I did hear a little bit about, and I wonder if there's any truth to that. That could actually be an interesting angle to look at it from. He was expecting to play with Locke. The cadence changed because of Geno. Yeah, Cross is going to be good. Better it happen now than happen later. Beloved Crenshaw, why am I hearing more about Woolen than Bryant? Well, Woolen played more in this last game. For one, I think that's a big thing. Luke Wattenberg at center. I, I could be wrong. Wasn't Wattenberg like really small? All right, Festa gets out of it. 67 plus. Locke doing too much is a possibility. One I'd live with, honestly. I'd take it over Geno sitting on his hands in a loss we'll have to hear about all year. Even competing with Denver would be in that win. There's some wisdom to that. There's some wisdom to that for sure. Pete doesn't seem very high on Bryant. Jeffrey, I very seriously doubt that based off everything we've heard from him in camp. Cross made Robert Quinn look average. Lucas is just like IHOP serving pancakes. I think this tackle combo will be special. I'm just not putting too much on them in their rookie year. I'm just, I don't want to go out there and be like, we should expect them to play like Pro Bowlers right now. I don't think that's fair for them, and I don't think it's fair for us. Cam Newton was never the same after having COVID. Well, there was a lot more going on there than just COVID. His body had been beaten to hell and back. Like, it made sense that he was going to have a significant tick down in his career because he's basically was playing like a fullback for how many years? In many ways, I mean, not as much as a fullback, but he's taking the abuse of a fullback. It's not surprising. Woolen helped his stock. He played well. Noticed the Bears started going away from him. Yeah, John, I thought Woolen didn't really do anything like bad. I didn't notice Woolen do anything that was like, ugh. Like in that first game. Woolen hates to tackle, going to be a problem for him from Jeffrey. Yeah, he needs to. I don't think he hates how to tackle. He's a willing tackler. He's just not a good tackler. And I can deal with that. He'll learn how to tackle, hopefully. All right, guys. We went for about an hour here. I'm going to keep it going for about another minute. Jesus. All right. Enough of that. Holy. What is a Bears fan doing in here? Do you think Walker will play week one? Yeah, I think he'll play. What's the rumor about Hawk tackling going away with new practice restrictions? Is it really that simple? I think there is a lot of truth to that, 67 plush. Lot of truth to that. Teams don't get to practice as much. So things like tackling are not as good as they used to be because that's what the players want every CBA renegotiation. They want to practice less. All right, guys. Thanks for coming out. I'm going to get out of here, go eat dinner. You'll see me on Twitch tonight, maybe around 7:15. I'm going to start playing Fire Emblem for the rest of the night. Hope I see you guys there. We ended up getting some pretty good support today. Good turnout. A video tomorrow. Maybe another Seahawks stream in a couple of days as we get closer to this Cowboys game. And I hope to see you guys around. But thank you for coming out. Just a short little 1 hour kind of an impromptu stream. And I will catch you guys later on. Go Hawks.